Good morning. This is my last show of 2018. I am taking a break as I announced earlier on Facebook. My YouTubers haven't seen that show because you don't have to do anything. My YouTubers will be able to continue to see this show like you always do in the new year. Remember, this will be my last show, my last Political Paula show that will air on my Facebook timeline. That's the one that's under my actual name. But Facebook viewers, remember, all you need to do is go to my page, Political Paula, click like and following, and you'll be able to see all my shows, which the new shows will start January 3rd. It's the first Thursday in January, and we're going to start our 2019 season. It's going to be amazing. And my website may even be available by then as well. I'm not sure about that. That is my website developer's job. But he is working on it on the weekends, and it should be available soon. So here's the show for today. And I think some of you are going to be surprised at my reaction to this story that fell into my lap while I was watching my local news channel, WGAL, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, on Friday. Every week, at the end of the week, they do an editorial, basically, and the head honcho at WGL comes on and reads an editorial. And this one was about a school teacher that works at Our Lady of Lourdes Regional School. It is a Catholic high school in Pennsylvania, and she was recently fired. She was fired because she is pregnant and not married. Now, put your thumbs away. I'm not going to be slamming the Catholic Church, although I do not agree, as most of you know, with their very stringent rules on birth control, number one, and their rules even on premarital sex and all of that, because again, these are antiquated man-made laws that basically everyone in society, if you talk to 200 Catholics, 90% of them will say they use birth control. They ignore the church. Okay? And the church never knows they're using birth control because, when you use birth control, you don't get a big BC tattooed to your chest. You don't have to wear that scarlet BC, birth control user. No one knows about it. It's your personal business, as it should be. You're having premarital sex. Well, it's not like you walk into church on Sunday and go up for communion and go, man, did I have some great sex last night, and I'm not married. You don't do that, so there's no way that the priest or the church knows you're having sex. But you get pregnant. Well, you know how they feel about abortion, and this woman's actually happy she's pregnant. She lives with her boyfriend. They're planning to get married when they decide they want to get married, when they're ready, which I also kind of don't understand. Again, I told you I'm going to surprise you on this show. You're going to think I'm going to be one way, and I'm completely the other. I'm very conservative, let's put it that way, on this particular issue. But the bottom line is that this woman's happy to be pregnant. She likes her life. But she teaches at a Catholic school. Turns out, surprisingly to me, she's not Catholic. And they knew that when they hired her. But she signed a paper. When she took employment at a Catholic school, she did sign a paper promising to live by the doctrines of the Catholic Church, which says no birth control, no premarital sex, and no being pregnant and not being married. That's part of their doctrine. That's what they do. And parents send their children to these schools to to teach them to be good Catholics. Which means they don't want their children in a classroom with a teacher who has basically broken two of the major rules, no premarital sex and no being pregnant without being married. Now, she did follow the no birth control rule, so give her a atta girl for that one. But she broke two of the big ones: premarital sex and being pregnant without being married. I was surprised at what the editor of WGAL had to say because it made me laugh a little bit. Here's what he said. He sided with the teacher. He believes she should not have been fired. He believes she should get her job back. And what he wrote was, love and acceptance are a hallmark of this season. It is striking when these things are absent from the places they should be heard most loudly. I guess he's talking about church. Well, you guys all know how I roll with organized religion and churches. I've had some really bad experiences, and let me tell you something I have never felt in an organized church was love or acceptance for me as I am. Oh, they love that I'm there. They love that I put money in the offering plate. Acceptance, not so much. Not when they hear what I'm about. The fact that I am pro-choice. The fact that I lived with my husband for 8 years before we got married. The fact that I use birth control. The fact that I believe in gay rights and gay marriage. Yeah, they don't accept me on that one, and they certainly don't love me for it. See, what I found with most organized religions, including, of course, the one I talk about the most, the Greek Orthodox Church, which I was raised in, is they only love and accept you when you are obeying every one of their man-made rules, which make no sense, to the letter. You stray on one little thing, even if you've been a 45, 60-year loyal member to the church, like my mother, they will kick you to the curb. No communion for you. You didn't pay us $800. Father Veronis didn't marry you. You got married in another Christian church. How dare you? You're out. That's the way it works. Okay? But here is the real question of this show. And I want to hear your opinions. I really do. And I'm going to be basically off for a few weeks, so I will be able to read your comments on this. It costs a lot of money to send your child to a private school, okay? And remember, parents who send their children to private school still have to pay public school taxes if they own a home in that school district. And school taxes, public school taxes are going through the roof. I can't believe what my husband and I pay for school taxes, and we don't even have any kids. Our poor elderly residents paying so much school taxes. They don't even have any kids. They're losing their homes. But sending your kid to private school doesn't exempt you from paying your public school tax. You still have to do that. Just like those of us who have no children and never will have children in the school district also must pay. So other children can get an education. People we will never meet get an education. So private school is expensive, and let's look at the reasons why parents choose to send their child to a religious-based school. Okay? Catholic school, Hebrew school. The reason they do this is because they don't want their children to only be religiously educated in their religion, that they want them to grow up and be a good Jewish person, a good Catholic person. They don't just want them to do that on Sundays. They want them to get that part of that education during the school week. So they get 6 days of religious education instead of just one, Sunday school and church on Sunday. And the reason they do this is, again, they expect that their Catholic religion or their Hebrew religion will be demonstrated by those who are charged with educating their children. They're paying for it. This is why I agree with the school. And by the way, this teacher who was fired, she agrees with the school too. She gets it. She's not going to run out and get married or join the Catholic Church, but she does understand that she broke the rules and therefore she should be fired. She and her boyfriend both say they have no animosity toward the Catholic Church or the school. And I applaud them for that. Our teachers, well, it is kind of sad. I don't agree with all of this, but they are held to a higher standard. And I even think our public school teachers probably should be held to a higher standard. And what's unfortunate is that also means, to some extent, giving up their rights to free speech, their rights to posting on Facebook. I know many teachers who use fake names on Facebook or who will not put pictures of themselves on Facebook on vacation because they're afraid that a parent or a student will see them in a bathing suit, holding a cocktail, smoking a cigarette, doing the limbo. It's not appropriate. It's not good. Now, I always say I don't agree with employers looking to Facebook to judge a person's employment. What you do on your own time is your business. But you know what? We've gotten to a point in our society where it's actually not. Look, for example, the hospital in my town, Lancaster General Hospital. If you work for them in any capacity, you are not allowed to smoke legal cigarettes, use tobacco products that are legal, even outside the hospital, in your own home, on your own time. They do tests. They do medical tests. And if you test positive for tobacco products, you're fired. I don't think that's right. I don't, especially since I don't think they test their employees for alcohol abuse. You're allowed to go home and have a couple belts of whiskey, but you're not allowed to smoke a cigarette, God forbid. Teachers are supposedly in the same boat. They are held to a higher standard. If I were a parent, I don't think I would be happy even if my daughter went to public school. If she came home and said to me, "Oh, my teacher's pregnant. And you know what, Mom? She's not married, so when you told me I should wait till I'm married to have babies, I don't have to do that. Teacher doesn't." I would be a little upset about that. And I'd have to have a really big talk with that teacher. And possibly with the administration of the school, because I don't want my daughter to think it's cool to be a single mom. My mom was a single mom. I didn't grow up with a father. And I believe that I would be a different person today if I had grown up in a more traditional home. My childhood was not happy living with Granny and Mom. And I do believe that I'm a little bit of a traditionalist, and I don't understand. Here's the thing I don't understand. Maybe some of you can help me, and I'm not trying to offend anyone. It's your personal business what you do. But if you love somebody enough to have a child with them, to live together in the same home, why not go ahead and make it legal? Get married. Let me tell you why. It's not about religion. Forget the religious part. You don't have to go to church and get married. You can go to the justice of the peace, to the courthouse, and get married. It's protection. It's security. Think about it. Think of the inheritance taxes. The reason why so many LGBTQ people fought to get married legally, because if you are not married, it doesn't matter if you've got 7 children together and have lived in the same home for 10 years, you will still pay like a non-family member. If your partner dies, you're going to pay 15 to 16% inheritance tax in Pennsylvania on everything, or at least half of everything if it's in both your names. Half of everything. You don't inherit tax-free like legally wed spouses do. If you decide that you no longer want to live together, if you're not married, there are no rules that say you get the kids, you get the house. You can be kicked to the curb real quick. You can lose everything you have. You might get the children, but getting the house and the joint savings account and all of that, that could be a lot harder if you're not married. Now look, again, nobody's business but yours. I just think it's confusing for the children. Why do mommy and daddy have 2 different last names? Um, when they go to someone else's house and they say, oh, we're married, and they, well, my mommy and daddy aren't married. I don't know. I guess I am a traditionalist. And before you all start talking about same-sex couples having kids, that's a whole other show. I do believe that same-sex couples can raise children very well, but I do think that they should be married when they have kids. I'm sorry. I think it's important for a child to be taught through example that children come after two people fall in love and get married. That's just me. If you disagree with me, so be it. But I practice what I preach. I met my husband when I was 32. And my time clock was ticking if he wanted kids. I didn't want kids. And he didn't either. But I did tell him, we did talk about it when we first met. And I told him, the only way I will have children with you is if we are married. And that's my choice, my decision, and I stand by it. And then the more we talked about it, and of course our financial situation at the time, we both decided, even at 35, we still weren't in a good place financially, a secure place to bring a child into our relationship, that we weren't going to have kids. And that's fine. Absolutely fine. And we did end up getting married because once we did become more successful and we actually had something to be taxed on and to lose if one of us passed away, we got married for the tax perks. The fact that I don't work outside the home anymore. Now he claims me as a dependent. That's a good thing. It saves us on taxes. Why should we pay the government more taxes than we need to? Take advantage of every loophole, of every perk you can get. So I would like to hear your comments on this one. Do you think that your teachers should be held to a higher standard? That when they sign on to be in front of a classroom and teach your children, even if it's teaching them math or science, that the way they live their lives is also something that should be done in a way that makes them a positive role model for what you want your children to be taught, whether it's religious or morals or values, just the way you feel. If I had children, I would be raising them knowing that they're going to have premarital sex. I would be making sure they use birth control. I would be letting them know that having a child out of wedlock, having a child as a teenager is not an option for my children. Not if they want us to support them. They won't be getting support from us. And I'm not raising grandchildren. That's how I've always felt. And I think when parents, I have a friend who teaches her children the same thing. Don't you bring me home no grandchildren to raise till you are working, can support your family, and are married. And I agree with that. And I think more parents should be sitting their children down and saying what is and is not acceptable. And when you will get support from us and you won't. So that's the show. I can't wait to see your comments. And also, of course, it's coming. It comes every year. And it's a sad time of year for so many. So many people this year at Christmas and New Year's are having an empty seat at the table for the first time. And the first is the worst. But they're all sad. Merry Christmas, Mom. I still miss my mom at my Christmas dinner table every year. Christmas isn't the same without her. And so I choose to not overly celebrate this time of year. I don't have a tree. I have no decorations. We're not doing gifts. We might get the dog a few things because it's so fun to watch her open them. It's just joyful. And we'll have a nice meal. And then, that's it. We'll spend the day together just doing what we normally do. Hopefully my husband will be working on my new webpage. But please be kind to those who are not holly and jolly this year. There's going to be people in your life who just don't feel it. They don't want to be part of it. Don't try to force it. And if you know someone who actually is really hurting this year, don't call them and go, "Hey, Merry Christmas! What are you doing for the holidays?" Call or send them a little message. How are you? You doing okay? I know this is going to be a hard year for you. This is a hard time of year for you. Let them know that you support their mourning. Don't try to tell them that, "Oh, get over it already. It's been long enough." Nobody decides when it's been long enough except the person who's actually grieving. Okay? And we have a right to do that. We have a right to be sad at this time of year. Amongst all this fake joy and, oh, we have to be happy. We have to pretend we like each other because we're at the same dinner table. I hate it. I hate every part of it. That's why I don't participate in it. My Christmas table will be me and my husband with the dog at our lap going, "Can I have some leg of lamb, Mommy?" "Yeah, it's going to be leg of lamb this year. Yum, yum." That's my Christmas gift to me, leg of lamb. Because my husband's not a fan, but he will eat it for one day. He can do it. And I can cook it really well. So wherever you're going to be this season, if you celebrate, if you don't celebrate, I wish you the best. Be safe and try to stand up for yourself. Be where you want to be, with whom you want to be with, and don't fake it. Don't be forced to fake it. If you're going to fake it, just don't worry about it. There is no crime in refusing to participate in holiday celebrations. No crime at all. Don't let anyone treat you like it is. I'm going to see all of you back here on January the 3rd. Hopefully the Christmas movies and the music and the commercials will be gone by then. And we can get back to the business of doing Political Paula, my show. I love you all. I wish you all the best. Thank you for your support. And Facebook people, don't forget to go on to facebook.com/politicalpaula. I'll be putting links up for the next couple weeks to the page. Like it, hit following. We're all good. It'll be like it never happened. No real change. Except now I'll only have to go to one place on Facebook to pay more attention to all of you, which I will enjoy doing. So be safe. Be happy if you can. Don't be afraid to be sad. And I'll see you on January 3rd. Political Paula, out.